second reading of ordinance 2509, adopting the budget for fiscal year 2025-2026. Mr. McEwen.
Mr. Mayor and City Council, thank you. In accordance with the state of South Carolina, the City Council is required to adopt annual balanced budget by ordinance prior to July the 1st, which is the start of our fiscal year. The city's annual budget serves as both a policy guide and a financial plan. It directs resources towards city council priorities, ensures the delivery of essential services, and maintains our commitment to sound fiscal management. While this document provides a 12-month outlook, it is built within the city's ongoing 5-year budgeting model, which includes our capital improvement plan. The budget was discussed at City Council retreat early on in the process at the April 28th work session, during which City Administration presented highlights and key considerations for the upcoming budget year. Council received a complete budget in May. A public hearing on the proposed budget orders was held on June 9th at 5:45 p.m. prior to the regularly scheduled meeting to receive public comments. It was passed on first reading. During first reading, I did give a complete overview of the budget for the public's benefit, and also to discuss any remaining issues, or and also go over the capital investment that we have that's not within the 12-month O&M budget. So I went over that, $83 million in planned capital projects from 2026 to 2028. That's within our capital improvement plan and budgeted for. With that, this is a total of $87 million, all funds in, operating budget for the 12 months. With that, Mr. Mayor, unless there's any additional questions, refer back to council for second readings consideration.
Thank you, sir. Again, stellar job in regards to getting us to this point, but I will open it up to council for any further questions, comments.
Mayor, I'll make the motion to approve the FY 25-26 budget as presented.
Second that.
First by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Dr. Thompson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That budget passes unanimously. Thank you to everyone involved. Our second item is request second reading of ordinance 25-10 to revise the PDD document for the Franklin, located at the southwest corner of South Murray Avenue and West Franklin Street. Ms. McEwen.
Council, as you're very familiar with this project that we've been working on for about a year and a half, or maybe 2 years now, and looking at this developer, looking at the city property that's that the city owns for developing for a residential site. The project consists of about a $45 million investment with 80 units, multifamily units on the city's property. It did get passed as far as the thing that needed to come back. We looked at concept plans early on in the design process, and there was some adjustments based on council's input of kind of where the building should be located from the street, what it should look like. We had a lot of input into the process, and based on those discussions and the actual conceptuals that were provided, there was a change that needed to take place as far as this being a planned development district that was set for this project. So there was just some minor changes there, and there was some questions on first reading. It's been updated in the document, and Mr. Maurice McKenzie will go over that for you. Mr. McKenzie.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McEwen is correct. Last year in May of 2024, this came before you to rezone the property. It actually consists of 11 parcels of land, and it was rezoned to PDD, Planned Development District, and it is for an 80-unit multifamily development. And when you do go through the process of revising a PDD document, it's the same as a rezoning. It goes before Planning Commission. It comes back to you for 2 readings. And as Mr. McEwen mentioned, at their City Council retreat, and while the development plans were being finalized, there was a need to make some revisions to the plan. And this came to you on first reading on June 9th. And at that meeting, there were 2 previously agreed upon revisions that were not included in that PDD document. My apologies for that not being included in that, but now it has been clarified in the PDD document and attached site plan. And the proposed changes revisions to the PDD document are highlighted in yellow in your packet, but those are to decrease the setbacks along all street frontages from 25 feet to 15 feet. Really, the 15 feet mainly applies to the South Murray Avenue side, but we included it along all street frontages just for consistency purposes and for flexibility. Also, a 10-foot wide sidewalk and 3.5-foot curb lawn will be provided along South Murray Avenue and West Franklin Street. Also, a covered vehicle pass-through for pedestrian drop-off will be incorporated into the plan. And also HVAC equipment, it is written in the document to face the road right-of-ways with appropriate screening. That's in there because in our landscaping and screening regulations, it has a provision in there that says no HVAC equipment can face a right-of-way. So we can write it into the PDD document to override that. So that's the reason for that. But what these changes will do is to provide a better layout for the site. And again, this did come before you at your June 9th meeting. You did approve it on first reading pending the addition of the couple of items that were previously not included into the presentation. This did go before Planning Commission as well, and they recommended approval of it. So again, this comes to you tonight on second reading.
Thank you.
And also, the applicant is in attendance too, Scott Sullivan, if you have any
Great,
specific
and
questions. Thank you.
Screen just put up. So any questions, comments? Ms. Stewart?
Where's the playground gonna be at? I don't see it on this plan.
It's on the plan, it's closer to the West Franklin Street side of the property. It's, again, this plan is hard to see, but it's kind of on the northern end. It's kind of colored in a yellow.
Yes, number 13.
13, right.
Oh, so just like like a little swing set?
I don't know what the play structure will consist of, but the
Did you-
applicant.
did you go on the-
I thought it was gonna be a larger, play area. I thought we was,
Did you make it out to there?
I remember seeing a larger play area
Okay.
than what this little area is showing, for that entire complex. I may be wrong about the time, do you remember?
I'm looking at
Mr. Stewart, I know Dr. Thompson, you were there. If you made it out to the Aston Point, that's on Salem Church Road, identical to the playground they have out there. And then there's as you're aware, we own property across the street.
One time.
And we're looking at a potential park across the street from there in the future for a city park for expanded recreational opportunities. On Johnson Street, we own property along Johnson Street.
That's on the bottom. Is that part of the complex?
Across from Johnson Street.
Right.
That's just city-owned property, not a part of the development of the complex. But actually, one of the points they were awarded is because they were adjacent to additional city-owned property that can potentially be in the future a public park as well. And so I think that would be a good use of that and worth further discussion. But as far as what the playground is on site, the state regulates that as far as what they need to have there and also the units and so forth, and the layout's all approved by the state.
I think based on 80 units only, I'm pretty sure we probably need more playground space if that's available.
Yeah. And I assume the parking spaces, we have 80 units, you figure 160, maybe 2 parking spaces per house, and we only, have 125, is that it?
Yes, sir.
120? How many parking spaces?
Yes, sir, roughly 120.
Just want to make sure that we're thinking that's going to be enough, so they won't be on the street parking anywhere.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Martinez?
I just
Then Mr. Roberts, Jeff?
I'm just going to make a quick comment. Since I've joined council back in 2022, I know there's been a lot of discussion about this site. I've been really impressed with the conversation that we've had with Prestwick on this. I know that they've been good partners with the city and with the council in regards to taking some feedback. I know this is a passion area for Dr. Thompson. I think this is going to be a great upgrade to that area and hopefully a catalyst for additional development around this area. So I just wanted to be complimentary. I know we're still making some comments and still talking about some different things, but I couldn't be more pleased with how this has progressed over the last 3 years. I think we're in a really, really good spot.
One thing I did notice today, though, across the street, but the little areas of development, commercial development, I saw ABC store across the street. Is that correct, Maurice?
That shopping center, the
Yeah.
existing shopping center
In
that's
that,
there?
in that strip center, I'm not aware of it being there. It was open today?
I think
It
so,
look-
because if you know down the street from going down Franklin,
Yes, I'm
there
aware
was
of that one.
ABC store that snuck in there that we didn't know about. But the
Mhm.
one I saw today, unless I'm mistaken, is
Yeah.
right across the street in the parking area.
I'll look into that. They have to make application to the state, obviously, so we'll look into see what the status is of that
I
property.
just thought that would be appropriate to put a ABC store right across from this development.
Mr. Jeff Roberts?
Several questions. Help clear up the setbacks on, we gave them 15-foot setbacks on all streets, but according to the site plan, it looks like along South Murray it's really 15 feet, and then along Franklin, 20 feet.
That's right. They could live with 20 feet on Franklin Street. It's really 15 feet. We just kept it that way for consistency purposes. And as you can see from the Johnson Street and Tower Street sides, there are no buildings, so there's just kind of a wash there.
All right. I had to put my glasses on to see the site plan, but are there any HVAC units encroaching into the setback? There appear to be several. Will that be the case?
According to this, it shows, I see I see 3 that are right on the setback line, it appears. And again, as we finalize everything, we can work to make sure that if this is something we want to keep out of the setback, we'll work with the developer to do that as plans are submitted.
Yeah, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 along South Murray. If that's drawn correct.
Yeah, I see I see the other 2. Yes, sir.
My question is, will we allow that to happen or not?
We do allow that with single family. Again, setbacks are measured to the side of the house, not the HVAC units or things like that. So it could be looked upon the same way with this.
The building setback, not the.
Right, yeah, this 15-foot setback applies to the building.
All right, also, where is trash collection, dumpster, compactor, or whatever apparatus is there? I couldn't find it.
I don't see it on the plan as well. Again, let's see, wait, number 9, you got it, Scott?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's, okay. If you come into the site there off of Johnson Street, you see that little driveway that peels off to the right. That's a concrete driveway that will go to a trash collection area. They'll have a trash chute from the top floor to the bottom. So inside the trash room, inside the building, there'll be bins, they collect it, and then the trash, they'll pull those bins out, trash truck will pick them up, push them back in the building.
So that's in an enclosed,
Yes,
behind a gate or something that?
Yes, sir, behind the garage door.
And that's the top left, number 9.
It's actually number 4, when you come in off Johnson Street to the right.
At the bottom end of the long side of the
Right here.
Looks like a driveway.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, wait, 7.
7.
7.
A couple of them.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Not related to site, but this is a 4-story structure on the backside, correct?
Correct,
Therefore, there is an elevator
correct.
inside, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, on the, basically on the inside corner of the L up at Franklin Street and Murray. So the way the building is laid out, when you come through the little roundabout at the Port of Cachet, the leasing office is on that inside corner. And then there'll be a 2-story open space, which is kind of unusual in a lot of our projects. And all the main amenity space is up on that first floor at street level, and will open out to that little plaza area. Try to keep a nice, homey, open community feel for that area. But that's where the elevator is.
Okay. Mayor, I'm good.
Okay. Anything else?
I appreciate the questions that you're asking, because this is gonna be a top-notch development that we're all gonna be proud of.
It's a good-looking building, and, without, being over complimentary, we appreciated all the feedback, and it's unlike a lot of the buildings that we normally build. It's gonna be a really nice-looking building. mean, all our buildings are nice, but this has a unique look to it, so.
Would you please, Maurice, look into the ABC store?
Yes, ma'am, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Any other questions in regards to the Franklin?
What is number one? What is that cut out?
Number one.
It says,
Oh.
number one says
Oh, it's just a
18
curb. It's just a-
concrete curb and gutter, yep.
it's just a curb.
18-inch curb, yep, concrete curb and gutter.
Any other questions, comments?
And I assume that the parking lot and the back will be lit there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll work with Duke Power to have site lighting along the sidewalks, and then also all the islands would have pole lights.
What's the ratio y'all typically use for parking? I know that was brought up earlier. I mean, like
One
per
and-
unit?
One and a half to
One
per
and a half.
unit. The SC Housing, the QAP requirements, I believe it requires for 3-bedroom units, you have to have 2 parking spots. For a 2-bedroom unit, you have to have 1, and a 1-bedroom unit, you have to
But
have
a lot of these are
1, so-
one bedrooms too, correct? Bunch of one bedrooms and
Yeah,
two,
it's,
a handful?
I think it's 21 bedrooms,
Gotcha.
maybe 23 bedrooms.
Thank you.
And most of those are gonna be first floor?
They're mixed throughout.
I was just thinking about the elderly, you know, well, I guess.
It's a family, so it's a family project. I mean, elderly can live there, but yeah, all the unit types are mixed throughout the building.
And it has an elevator as well.
Good. Any other questions?
Yeah, have we named this the Franklin?
Yes,
We
ma'am.
named it the Franklin.
Okay. This
But I
one's
couldn't
on
tell you why.
Franklin Street.
Yeah.
Okay. With all those questions, I hope I'm satisfied, and the community is satisfied. I move that we pass this on final reading.
First by Dr. Thompson,
Second.
second by Mr. Harvey. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously on the second and final reading.
Could I ask this one question? When will this get started, Andrew? When will this project get started?
When you guys start, one more question. When you start?
We have to close by the end of August, so we'll start construction mid to late September.
Thank you.
October.
Better answer.
We have 2 items of new business. The first item is request consideration of contracts for water line replacement in the Weldon Mills area and East Market Street area. Mr. McEwen.
Thank you. We'll go over the bids in a second. As you can look into your packet, you can kind of identify where this area is. 2 separate areas. Both areas were identified as needing. They were both having water quality issues if they were not, if flow didn't continue through them. So we're doing a lot of flushing in this area, which brought it to our attention. And then we did a study on it, and it basically identified we need to replace these lines. They're just AH, they're deteriorated. It's time to replace them. So 2 different sections here. And as far as the capital improvement plan, we had this in there moving forward. We actually came to you guys in March and asked for what's the first step in pursuing a state revolving loan fund, a low interest state revolving loan fund from South Carolina, is that we have you pass a resolution. So we had you pass a resolution on that for an SRF loan. That was passed, and then we took additional steps moving forward and then bidding it out. And so we'll go over the bids in a second, but also want to explain the overall process. The bids did come under the budget amount, and we've updated that in our CIP plan. So tonight's before you is the bids, the contract consideration. However, we will need to come back to you per the process with the state revolving loan fund to pass an ordinance to actually close on the loan with them. So that will be in the future. Right now, we're accepting the bids and accepting the contract. That's the recommendation. We'll move forward, and we will here shortly, late summer, move forward to close on the state revolving loan fund by ordinance that's brought before you, and that's just part of the process. With that, turn it over to Mr. Scott Baines, our utility director, to go over the bids and his recommendation and the engineer's KCI that worked on this as a recommendation. Mr. Banks.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen. As Mr. McEwen discussed, we have two areas, Wellington Mills and East Market Street areas that we needed to do some water line improvements in. The budget was $3,975,000. We, as part of this, to attract multiple or more bidders, we broke it into two separate contracts. We had 4 contractors bid on each division. LW Incorporated, they're headquartered in Georgetown, but they do have a satellite office here in Anderson, and they do a lot of work for several of our neighboring utilities, and they actually did a project for me when I was at Clemson University, and all of the folks that they've done work for neighboring to us have spoke very highly of them. So, but they were the low bid for the East Market Street area at $793,000. J&M Construction out of Pilton was next at $831,900. HRH Engineering out of Chesney, South Carolina was $1,002,200. Long and Sons Utility Company LLC out of Simpsonville was $1,160,113. For Division 2, which was the Wellington Mills area, LW again was the low bidder at $2,041,600. J&M was second at $2,157,300. Long and Sons was $2,407,913. HRH Engineering of Chesney was $2,624,449. As we said, this was we planned funding it with State Revolving Loan Fund. The annual debt service payment will be $209,007.08 beginning in October of 2026. With that said, staff is recommending approval of the 2 water line replacement contracts with L&L Incorporated of Georgetown and Anderson, South Carolina. And we added, we're recommending we add 10% to both of these just for some contingency, which would bring the East Market area to $872,300, Wellington Mills area to $2,245,760, for a total of $118,060.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Ms. Roberts, Jeff?
Mr. Banks, who's providing oversight to the construction?
KCI, our engineer, part of their contract is for the construction administration and inspection.
The reason I ask, if you look through the bids, I think it was probably won or lost in the pavement replacement category, because there's quite a difference between low and high in there, and low and second even. But so my question is, that if we're talking about pavement replacement and sidewalk replacement, I'd like to have good, thorough oversight on making sure those are put back in proper order.
We have a good detail that they'll have to adhere to, and like I said, the KCI will be administering construction inspection during the entire process.
Ms. Stewart?
Just kind of piggyback on what Councilman Roberts said, you know, you got 3 other bidders at $500,000 for the sidewalk, you got one at $200,000, something just doesn't seem right there.
Well, I mean, they're in this area, you know, different ones, they have their strengths and their weaknesses. You know, hopefully not hopefully, but I'm assuming in that particular area, they've found a way to meet the requirement at a lower cost. But again, we will be watching them closely, and as I said, they came highly recommended from our neighboring utilities, who they're doing the road and pavement replacement and the sidewalk placement for them as well. And like I said, they did a project for me when I was at Clemson University, and I had no complaints at all. They were excellent contractors.
So Big Creek Hammond's the only one they've done something with, other than Seneca.
I'm
I think that's what it said. I think.
That's what's in the letter that they're referencing.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Harvey, then Mr. John Roberts?
So, some of the bidders I mean, I've seen some of the names. I assume the size of the project is a different, I mean, not that this is a small project, but it's not a massive project. Some of the people that normally bid on this have not bid. Is that just the scope of the project, or?
I think it's part of that, and then also just a lot of folks are busy with other like all the skip money that's around. It's got a lot of folks. Moorhead, they looked at it, but they're busy with other stuff. Also, John Davis, he was really looking hard at it, but he had some other projects that have delayed him from being able to be at it as well. So
I mean, I knew that there were 2 or 3 that we always seem to see.
yes, sir.
Anytime and sometimes we award them to, I guess we have to reward them to the lowest one, but there's different names, and these are some newer names. I'm not opposed to doing business with somebody that you personally have experience with, but it's just a new name and just not familiar with.
Well, and J&M, they usually are one that usually bids on most of our stuff.
Yep.
And we bid it on, we advertised in Skibo as well as like some of those that we use regularly. We make sure they're aware even though we advertise in Skibo.
Thanks.
Ms. Roberts?
I as well have had experience with the low bidder previously. I ran a couple miles, almost 2 miles of force main sewer for a project I was involved in years ago, and did all the on-site utility work. They had no issues at all with the work that was performed then.
Ms. Stewart?
In a residential neighborhood, what dictates whether you put in a 2-inch line or a 6-inch line?
Well, in this case, some of it was 1.5 inches galvanized, and so we put in 6-inch where we think hydrants definitely need to be and added, but likewise, if it's a 1.5 inch galvanized, the 2 inches is sufficient, and we do that to help save cost, just because as you see now, this one project was over $2.5 million. And so it would have been considerably higher had we used much
I can add on to that
I was
too.
looking at area here around my house at Gossett, you got Lanford, Hayes, it's all a residential area. On one street, you got a 2-inch line, next street, you got a 6-inch line, so I'm just trying to figure if this person next door to me will have higher water pressure than I got water pressure coming out of a 2-inch line versus a 6-inch line, or
They shouldn't, because we also kind of use cross streets. There are some 6 inches already there, because if you'll notice, there are certain streets that aren't slated for replacement. Those already had a 6-inch PVC or iron pipe there, and so it's more, like I said, we model it to also make sure that there's plenty of pressure and flow.
Yeah, so the only difference would be volume, right? So it's
Yes.
6-inch to the 2-inch, not pressure. So volume of the flow volume. And so when you look at the 6-inch, you'd be looking at, okay, do we have commercial structures in this area that we need to provide source water for? And the different taps in the area, and you're looking at a small grouping of residential. And then from a public safety standpoint, you're looking to see, and I've had Chief King look at this, will there be hydrants which have to be on a 6-inch line? Will they be close to the structures within 1,000 feet? And that's a guideline that we use because we carry 1,000 feet of 5-inch hose on our fire engines. And so we say it's 1,000 feet. And so in this case, Chief King looked at it, acknowledged that, yes, the 6-inch lines are placed properly to be able to serve all the residential houses, the units here, the building structures with 1,000 feet distance from a hydrant.
Good. Any other questions, comments?
I guess the neighbors, neighborhood be notified or somehow, before all this gets started?
Yes, sir. We'll make sure that they're all aware and we'll give them our numbers to if they experience any issues during this, especially during the swap over, going from the old to the new system.
I think they'll be quite happy on the investment and the having high quality water lines and not having any discolored water situations.
Good. Sure there was. Anything else?
David, just quick question on the financing of it. So it looks like the closing fee is just 50 bips of the loan amount. That sounds pretty standard. And then the 20-year amortization with the quarterly installments, do we expect to follow that schedule, or are there any grants that could be given to us that might make us want to accelerate that, or?
No, not for this project.
Okay.
So, yeah, so this project funded completely through this. We actually are able to reimburse our engineering costs, which is a plus. They added that in there since we were previously approved for a higher amount. They agreed, and that's not always the case, but they agreed to allow us to reimburse our own engineering costs, which has been cashed out of the water utility. And so with that, good terms here. It's what we recommend. Great, beating obviously the market, and it's a great process to go through. But obviously this is subsidized, right? So they do have kind of two different ways of doing it. You can get a grant, which we have a lot of outstanding grant applications, about 7 right now on just utilities that are outstanding. But then these are also competitive to get. So it's good to get this.
Yeah, it's a good rate, it's a fair cost, so, good, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
First by Mr. Harvin,
Second.
second by Mr. Martinez. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. The last item of new business is request consideration of a contract to demolish 406 through 420 South Main Street. Mr. McEwen.
Okay, Mr. Strickland's going to cover this item for us. Mr. Strickland.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen. Mayor, Council, what you have before you is a request to award a contract to Trifecta Services, demolition contractor out of Greer. As you recall, in December, the city purchased 406 through 420 South Main Street. That's what we call the Anderson Hotel, right across the street from City Hall. The building had previously been condemned in August. The previous owner sold it to the city with the understanding it would be demolished. So it took us a few months to get through that process. In the meantime, we were approached by another developer to potentially do some due diligence to potentially develop the project. And unfortunately, in the interim, while we were waiting on that developer to do due diligence, we got word that there was some active structural collapse and imminent additional collapse of the building. So we decided to rush this before you. Trifecta is an excellent, reputable, very experienced demolition contractor that works in the region. They do big projects, they do small projects. This is a little bit more complicated than your typical demolition project. It requires some stabilization of the Main Street sidewalk and the adjacent buildings next door. So we need to make sure that we're comfortable with who we use. We have no qualms recommending Trifecta for this purpose. So staff recommends an award in the amount of $398,850 to Trifecta Services of Greer. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Ms. Stewart?
Do you know how much salvage credit they estimated in this project?
I do not.
I know they said that, if there's anything that's different from the time they walked the site, that it will be added back to the project. They went out, did an assessment of the salvage credit. What will they be salvaged?
There's not much to be salvaged. The previous owner took out a lot of the older material that he could, with the understanding he could bring it back at some point if he redeveloped the property. But to my knowledge, there's nothing that could be salvaged of this project.
Thank you.
Ms. Jeff Roberts? Then Dr. Thompson?
I would assume that these buildings are extremely dangerous to enter.
Yeah.
And we need to do a thorough sweep of those buildings before, assuming that someone's not in there taking shelter before demolition occurs.
Excellent point. Yes, sir.
Dr. Thompson?
They're a positive project, and looking to the future, if all goes well, it's going to really enhance this side of the city, going south, across from City Hall. That's going to look really well. Going down this way, it's going to encourage other developments. So I think, and I hope it's going to go well, that's going to be a positive thing for our city.
Mr. Martinez?
Yeah, I'll just make a comment for those that are watching. it's a little deceiving. If you're just driving down Main Street, you can obviously see that there's some issues, but if you really want to see the extent of the damage, if you go on the back side of the property and view it from, say, Murray facing Main, you can really see how much damage is on the back end. I just want to attest, I was one of the council members that had a client of mine that was a developer that was interested in that building, and he was really motivated because of how much he loved it. I mean, he still couldn't make it work, and I know that was a story that's been told several times. So this is not something being discussed in haste outside of a safety standpoint. I know we've tried to make this work for several years. So again, I think when we have as much character as we do in our city, we want to be as thoughtful as we can, but we also have to start weighing in safety, and I think the future of what will be there will be much brighter, like what Dr. Thompson discussed. With that being said, I'll make a motion that we pass and award this demolition to Trifecta Services in the amount of $398,850.
Second.
First by Mr. Martinez, second by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any further comments, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. I do entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First by Dr. Thompson, second by Mr. John Roberts. All those in favor